a fun exploration on a beautiful spring day. So one of the questions, and it's a very common question, right, that we've wondered. We've heard about the word soul. What does that really mean? Of course, as we know, no word itself holds any inherent meaning. It's the mind that gives it meaning. So in one way, one perspective which I've been sharing, of course, is if we look at it from the lens of looking at the cosmos, right, self, then at that level, the sun can be, a symbol for soul, because it's solar, because it's the very light that lights up our world, right, in that sense. It's the same as awareness, right? Awareness is primary, and it is only the awareness through as which that everything comes into existence. So this is the nature of consciousness. So somebody's asking, so what's the perspective for soul? And this is one way to look at it. The soul is like a feeling. It's actually the nature of manifest consciousness as energy. It's emotion. So in Sanskrit, in ours, that's why we call it as bhava. The word bhava. It's beautiful because how I sense it, right, is bha, bha. Right? Bha is when your lips come together. For me, it is bringing two things together, like Shiva Shakti. It's bringing the heaven and earth together, right? Because the spirit realm and the manifest material realm are not different. They are one and the same, right? There's one consciousness that is manifest. So when we use the word bha, right, that's why Brahma, or we say Bhu Devi, the word Bha itself has such power of bringing together. And Va is for the element of air, right, or that which flows, one may say. So the nature of manifest consciousness is emotion. And that is why for us, when we are identified with the reasoning, logical mind, right? The experience of living at the unconscious Dwapar Yuga state and playing as the self, the mind, the body, mind, and the world as duality, right? We move at the level of simply at the intellectual, as the five senses. One of the invitations, that's why, is to come into bhava. And that's the feeling. Everything changes when we start feeling through life. And that is the wisdom of bhakti as well. So that is the essence of soul. And that is why to awaken to being the soul is experienced as a deep intimacy with life, intimacy with our emotions, even if they are at the level of our personal self. It is moving through and as that, right? It's that's why it's a very feminine aspect, because the nature of feminine, that is the subtle at the level of energy, is, we know, manifest consciousness at the level of energy is just one. Only through the masculine lenses, the play of the world of matter at the level of many is seen. That's the play, right? But as the feminine at the level of energy, everything is all-encompassing. I am the all, right? So it's a very feeling thing, and it's a very different way of moving through life, feeling, right? And that's why it's very connected to the arts in some ways, right? You can say music or dance or poetry and all that, in a way where consciousness is experiencing itself, because there's no person, right, as this. And this is the key, right? As the soul, when you awaken, you really realize that There is no separate person. So we really see it's not that I am feeling anger, or I am feeling good today, or I am feeling bad today. That I as a separate person does not exist. That I is manifest consciousness itself. So when there is anger, I am anger. When there is sadness, I am sadness. And the I am is manifest consciousness. There's no separation from the emotion we feel. There's no separation at all at the level of the soul. Right? So life is felt very intimately. And also as the soul, that's why the beauty and the flow, right, of life is experienced. Because there's nothing outside. Anything that is, that's why Shiva Shakti, right, as awareness, that which is unchanging as Shiva, and Shakti as the flow, as the energy, are one and the same. That which is experienced, that is constantly changing, still that experience at manifest level is what I am. So that is why what I'm conscious of, what I'm aware of, at the relative level, right, to be aware of this, the relative level is what I am. That is what I'm vibrating as. So this is how I'm experiencing one perspective of looking and living as the soul. And that's why the feminine, if you look at it, she's in the body, right? One way to look at it is always here. She's in the now. Because the energy, as vibration, all there is the vibration. There's nothing else. Right? As the masculine mind, we live looking at different things. Everything looks fragmented. So even the mind, the lens, the five senses looks at it that way. I'll give you an example. Especially now, right? The questions that I received, somebody struggling with different subjects, right? Whatever that might be, whether it's health, whether it's your career, whether it's your relationship, whether it's whatever, it looks like 10 things, and the intellectual mind looks at it as separate things, as solutions. When you come within into your body, really, the feminine way of looking at it, everything is one thing. How we do one thing is how we do everything. What is that one thing? The vibration, the energy of that which we are. That is the thing. Just the energy of that which we are. And that's why the wisdom really is to just sense into that which we are vibrating as. We don't need to look at 10 different things. They're simply appearing as 10,000 things. It's only one thing, that vibration. Right? And when an emotion arises, soul is so intimate with life, right? Shiva as mind, as manifest consciousness, is here to taste. Mind, Shakti, allows for tasting everything, right? Everything. Right? That's why to stand as Shiva Shakti is to be equanimous. Right? Whatever it is that comes is what I am. Right? So, moving through every emotion, you just flow. This is the wisdom of the soul. That's why soul is all allowing. Like one may say, right, we look at the sky and we look at the sun shines on everybody equally. Right? There's no hierarchy. Right? That is the first primary nature. It's exactly that, right? The soul's nature, that's why it's all allowing. It embraces everything, allows every emotion to move through it. Right? That is the quality of the soul, beyond intellectual knowing. So it's like, as energy, that's why. Emotion, that's why, can be our beautiful GPS system, we may have heard as, right? So when the energy, when we are aware, right, when we are aware, this is one way of moving through this. This is a response to, the questions that come forth in this topic, is that it's very simple, not too complicated. Don't go into stories on different subjects. It doesn't matter whether the struggle or the angst is felt in any of these topics, right? I'm looking for my purpose. I'm looking for, relationships. I'm looking outward at the world, what is happening, whatever, ever. Right? This one thing, right? The one thing that is everything is, whenever an emotion comes up, if you're aware, and the more aware we are, we'll catch it early on, right? Otherwise, it grows more before it takes our attention. Natural phenomena when we're playing as the Dwapara Yuga state of mind. All of this is play. We're here to play and taste these ways of being, right? So soul, that's why, is a new way of being and sensing and seeing, right? That expansive state of awareness that I am. So whenever an emotion moves through the body, and that emotion is, right? That emotion is not apart from us. It is what consciousness, as consciousness, we are that emotion. We are manifest consciousness when it comes through. Now when that emotion feels constricting, right? It's because there is a barrier there. That means the masculine. The masculine is thought. That's the psychological identity, the conditions we have taken on from our environment. Those become the walls. I think I've shared this also in my fear video. Go ahead and take a look at that. It's beautiful to see that, because all of life is symbolic for that. It's like the water. I had a beautiful quote come up this morning, which I just loved, which was, when you flow like water. And that's what it means to be living as the soul. The age of Aquarius, water. To live as emotion, to live intimate with life. When you're fluid like water, there is nothing called being stuck between a hard place. Right? I mean, there's that quote, right? That does not exist when you're like water, right? So that's why the feminine is she's a gentle power, right? Like they say, water, be like water, like the way of the Tao, right? So that is soul. Just kind of offering different perspectives. Somebody saying, what does soul mean? Many ways to look at it, right? So for me, it's like, she is that soul, right? She's behind the form, behind that which the five senses see as the obvious, right? To sense the soul, you can't sense the soul directly in that hard way, the way the five senses look at something and make meaning. To sense the soul essence, right? It's an essence. One other way to look at the soul is also like it's an archetype. And that's why somebody was saying, what is soul tribe? Right? One way to look at it. Right? We will look at it. You'll sense into your soul tribe if you're exploring at that level at all. Okay, because there are different contexts. When you're living as consciousness I am, there is nothing called the soul tribe at that level either. But if you want to sense what we tend to label as the soul tribe and who you really connect with, is that that archetypal, that essence, right? Your consciousness is uniquely streaming like every ray of the sun, right? Like some, you can clearly see, right, the beauty of how they are able to be so calm, that loving space and hold space for somebody's healing. That's a quality of the soul. That's a gift, right? Consciousness itself. And then you see some who have these beautiful quality to be able to stand up, like, and be like an activist, right? To bring the masses together, right? To bring forth change. That's equality. right? You know that the way that they are, the stage that they're bringing a movement at a larger level, right? They can touch that. That is a soul quality. And when there are many different ways to see this, right? One even can say soul quality of just being silent, like you see some of these sages. That is their quality. Just their presence. They're silent. You won't even notice them. But that quality, right? It's like that aliveness. That is the space that holds all movement. They are that space, right? So that's one quality of the soul. And then when you are vibrating at that particular soul quality, that you as consciousness is living that quality, all tasting, right? If you're living that quality, you will feel a resonance to that. And that's why we'll feel like your soul tribe. Because, oh my God, you'll say, you see it this way too? Oh my God, how beautiful, right? And we were here for the joy of relating. Is this how you sense it too? I sense it too, right? In that sense, it's like that coming together and forming those friendships, those relationships. So, soul tribe. That just came up. But I want to go back to this, which I didn't finish, which is emotion. So when we're aware, right, it's all simple. When we are aware, what we do is that just be aware. That's all there is to all of these words, all of these videos I keep telling. Just be in the now. That is what it means to be aware. And just sense, keeping the attention within, right, to begin with, because we are playing as the appearance of inner and outer. That's why in that context. So you just keep your attention within and then just see what is flowing through you. As you. It's not flowing through you. There's no separate, the body. It's just consciousness. That's what you are in that moment. And sense that if it is something that feels like a constriction, right? The beauty, how beautiful, it's phenomena. This manifest consciousness mind is a phenomena, right? It's working so perfectly. And all of it moving us to awakening, right? After consciousness tastes a flavor fully. I'm really going to make a video on this desire thing, which is coming up as well, right? And all these definitions we have around desire and all of that stuff. Truly, we are here. That is why Shakti is Shiva's desire. What is that desire? To live it all. That is the possibilities, right? It's not just hierarchical. So once it's tasted, moves on to the next one, right? So that tasting is what is Shakti, manifest consciousness. It's a power, right? The power to be able to sense, which otherwise, for that which we are, pure consciousness, that which doesn't have any qualities, does not manifest itself, this play is not available. It's only through the mind, as the mind. That is why is the mind. That is why self is reality. Isness, everything is simply experiencing. All there is experiencing, sensing, tasting. Emotion, energy in motion. Energy is tasting. So, feeling that, right? This direct path. So you feel it. If it constricts, that means we are still, the consciousness that which we are is still vibrating at the level of the Dwapar Yuga, duality. Not to turn away from it, right? Of course, we have our own path at whatever pace. We know that. We sense into this. There is a belief, because belief and thought, the play of belief and thought belongs to the Dwapar Yuga state of mind. When you're living as a soul, there is no belief. That is why there's nothing called the power of belief. That's the limited play. Power of belief is very important for the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, because we are identified as thought. So then the nature of thought that we are, right? There's nothing apart. We are that thought. So when we are moving as that then holds power. So then it's important, the power of thoughts, as in the personal thought. This is a higher level thought, one may say, which is like waking up to be soul, to be emotions. So then, whenever energy, that emotion, we feel that constricted emotion, it doesn't matter, I want to really name this, doesn't matter what the reason for that is. We are not debating whether that story of why we are feeling that emotion is true or not, or valid or not. If we've experienced it, it's valid for us, right? There's something that has transpired. Dwapar Yuga is a play of separation as two, right? So in that context, yes, we've gone through experiences, something has happened, all of that is not to be negated, no. But if we really want to move through this, so see, at the end, it's all coming within. The path is through. That's why Shakti, all-encompassing, radical self-responsibility. We cannot put any blame, anything on the outer. And what I really want to clarify that is a valid part of the Dwapar Yuga play if that's happening. Do not diminish that. When we are vibrating as that, consciousness is experiencing itself as a victim. Consciousness is experiencing itself in the dynamics of blaming. That's a valid part. But if you're hearing this and kind of sensing this, because we are now the new era, right? Now what is coming forward, the planets and everything, because it's all the one self. Everything is so beautifully this thing for the leap that is already done energetically. So very key, right? So whenever this emotion is felt, see the thought behind that, because the thought is like the barrier. Otherwise, the soul is emotion. She just tastes and flows. She tastes and flows. She's not keeping herself apart from any emotion either, putting it in a hierarchical basket. She flows as whatever that emotion is, right? It's only when that constriction is felt, one may say, right? There is a belief there that this means something, right? That meaning making, that is done by the personal mind, which is what? The conditions of the world, the environment we've taken on, right? That is what constricts. When we are aware of that, then we can just see that. What meaning am I giving that which is happening right now? Instead of still simply being with it, with awareness. What meaning am I giving it? Right? And that we can see then is some belief that we have accepted unwittingly to be true. And generally when it's like constricting like this, because when we are experiencing it as consciousness, many a times the awareness is low. That means consciousness is still tasting fully that way of being, right? So we are not aware. We play the game. We are fully in it. That's what I share. I put that in my Kali Yuga video. If you want to see that, that's what I'm saying. Kali Yuga state, we are pure reaction. We are fully tasting it. Even Dwapar Yuga, right? We are fully tasting what it means to be a separate person. But when we come out of that now, when the awareness is there, that constricts, we see that belief. That's not what I am. It means nothing. And just that's why that awareness, if the awareness is sharp, which it is now for us, just the seeing of that, right? Because it's all of Shakti is illusion. What has us experience this illusory play as if it is real is the level of awareness. That is why the ultimate point to stand there is like, know thy nature. See the nature of mind. Right? And how do you see the nature of mind? It's not an outward thing, because that's the world of illusion. It's just being aware. And the more aware we are, that is what grows. That is what sharpens. That's all. It's that simple. Right? But as Dwapar Yuga, we look in 10 different places, we see part of the play. That is what consciousness wants to experience itself as well. Right? So, come in. And that constriction happened. Just seeing of that belief then dissolves. I believed this is what it means. About me, about another, or about the world. And what is the flow of emotion? Flow, that's why of water. If you leave the water or the emotion to flow, ascension, evolution is natural direction in which it flows. Of course, context. Beyond that, there is no direction either. Consciousness is timeless, is not linear. There's no one place to another place. All is simultaneous. But when we look at it in this context, even if you have to look at it, which is awakened Treta Yuga, beyond the unconscious identity, living as Treta Yuga is embodying the paradox. I am timeless, but still at the level of the body, right? The linear play is on. We are able to hold both. We know primary consciousness, relative play, is at the level of the body, as if experiencing a process. But then we know, the flow is always towards the ocean. Becomes so sharp. So when we are as that, when we allow for everything, discernment arises, higher level of awareness, and we don't have to do anything at all to become anything. Nothing. It's an unbecoming. So I'm going to share another video regarding that. But it just appears to become, right? That through mind, Shiva is experiencing the joy of becoming. It appears to become. So ascension is our, at the level of the mind, is the natural flow. We don't need to do anything for it. Because what was coming through in the next video, I'm going to say, which was so clearly really pointing to this, that there is no way to fail at this. There is no way to make mistakes. Just enjoy whatever comes through. That's why blessing. You just move through that. You just move through that. You just move through that. Right? So you see that the belief, it's not what I am. Just the saying of that. Then you allow. And emotion just then flows to the next thing. And to the next thing. To the next thing. And if when we are aware and we do not pick the thought, the conditioned thoughts that give meaning to life in a limited way, then there is nothing but just to be with life, as life. Because all is life. I am life. Living. I am living. Pure experiencing. That is soul. That is living soul. One perspective. So if you ever had this question, I hope you find this helpful. To living and celebrating that which already is an awakened body, mind, world. They are not different things. I am. Om. Much love. Have a beautiful day.